Sometimes we drop it. Sorry about that. Sometimes we drop it, but that's okay because it's only one so far. Now imagine that one ball is you. We all start off our lives rather simply, really. As infants and toddlers, we're not asked to juggle ourselves because the one ball that is us is hopefully being taken care of by others. Pretty soon, as we grow, we are soon handed the ball that is ourselves and told to learn how to juggle it. Before too long, we may add a second ball. Now we have to learn a new skill, how to toss and catch at the same time. Imagine that ball is school, friends, homework, cleaning your room, or something much harder, such as protecting younger siblings or finding food to eat. The expectations are getting higher, and soon someone tosses us a third ball. More is asked of us, and we're tossed another ball, then another, and another. And soon we may be tossed something much more risky than a ball to juggle. Something along the lines of knives or swords or even fire. Juggling is really the perfect metaphor for what we human beings do throughout our lives. We juggle ourselves, our families, our friends, our jobs, all those things that we have committed ourselves to. I do agree with the words spoken by former Coca-Cola CEO Brian Dyson and how we should prioritize all these things that we're juggling. To remind you, he said, imagine life as a game in which you're juggling 5 balls in the air. You name them: work, family, health, friends, and spirit. And you're keeping all of these in the air. You will soon understand that work is a rubber ball. If you drop it, it will bounce back. But the other 4 balls, family, health, friends, and spirit, are made of glass. If you drop one of these, they will be irrevocably scuffed, marked, nicked, damaged, or even shattered. They will never be the same. Yes, there are those balls we just do not want to drop for fear of breaking them. But he left out the most important one of them all, the one we begin with, us. What happens to our ball, which is made of something more delicate than glass, if it's the one that gets dropped under the strain of juggling so many others? Do we just say, uh-oh, I dropped it, and have to carry on because we can't afford to drop any more of what we're juggling? I don't think so. Our lives are a delicate balance. And yes, we take on the responsibility of juggling so much. There comes a time, though, when we may have to let go of it all, accept ourselves. And there may be a time when we're asked to pick up and juggle what someone else has dropped because they need us to. It's okay if we drop a ball or two while juggling. But please think about those times when it does need to be about you, and do not feel guilty about dropping the rest of what you're juggling. Be ready to take up someone else's if you're called to do so. In life, we need others around us to take up what we have to let go of, even if just temporarily, so we can get ourselves back into balance and begin with one again. Think about that one for a moment. You step off a platform onto a wire cable no wider than your foot that stretches out across what looks like the entire sky. Above you is air, below you is air. Below you is also the hard earth, but you're so far above it you can't see it. Somewhere far off in the distance ahead of you is your destination. The only way to get there is to walk that thin tightrope and pray you're able to keep your balance. We call the people who purposely step onto a thin wire cable and walk across canyons and between skyscrapers daredevils or risk takers. More often than not, we call them crazy for doing that. Yet at the same time, we're cheering them on because the last thing we want to do is see them fall. We are mesmerized watching them to make sure that they arrive safely. Then when they do, there's an overwhelming sense of relief. Until, if they're inclined, they turn around and put us through all that agony again because they want to make the trip back to where they began. Now, I ask you, rather than just thinking about it or watching others walk a tightrope, would you actually do it? Would you risk your life to get from one side of the wire to the other? Do you have the courage to walk a tightrope and keep your balance all the way across and back again? Metaphorically, we do step onto a tightrope each and every day, taking that precarious journey from one end to the other, somehow keeping our balance so we don't fall off. Every day we make that tense journey trying to hold on to our steadiness, unable to do much about it other than to walk. Our lives can be that fine line of wires twisted around one another, hopefully stretched taut enough so we don't run into sags or bumps. That wire twists and rolls beneath our feet, which is not helping our situation at all, but instead making it all the more challenging to stay upright. We hope that our physical bodies can withstand this type of stress. Even more so, we pray our minds can. There are tools we can use to help us keep our balance, but will we remember to use them? Why do we do this craziness? We do this because we see no other option. All that we want and need is on the other side, and this is the only way to get there. We do not have the choice to stay on the ground as much as we want to. In the article that Diana just read, the author wrote, "But even those who are able-bodied, the stress and pressure of walking high off the ground along a thin wire with no safety net are enough to keep all but the truly determined grounded." As terrifying as walking this metaphorical tightrope is for many of us, we still do it. We need to be determined to make it to the other side. Otherwise, we're just stuck. Just like in juggling, if we drop one ball or several, we can hope that our safety net is there to catch us. We need our loved ones, our friends and family, to be there to catch us if we fall, just as we need to be their safety net. As odd as this may sound, we need one another to stay grounded on our tightrope wire. Keeping a tightrope balance means staying grounded and having the support system in place when you start walking. Tightrope walking is a risk, but it's also a leap of faith that we're not truly taking alone. Just as you'll see in the short video we're about to share with you, Nick Walenda is not truly alone as he's crossing Niagara Falls. He has people on either side. He has hundreds, if not thousands of people praying and wishing for him to make it to the other side. True, his literal tightrope does not include a safety net, but that does not mean that your metaphorical one shouldn't have one. So take that first step onto your wire and be assured that the rest of us are right here with you. How many of you, when you were a kid, loved the swings, or even now as an adult? Of those of you who were just remembering how much you loved the swings, how many of you, when you were a kid, would get your swing going as high and as fast as you could, swinging back and forth almost to the top of the swing set, only to let go at the highest forwarding point, allowing yourself to fly off the swing through the air, landing deftly or not so deftly on the ground below? That was such a free feeling, wasn't it? I love doing that. Now, how many of you would do that today? Not everyone, but a good majority of people, when they reach adulthood and beyond, have forgotten what it feels like to fly. It's a lot to worry about with flying. There's gravity to think about. I have bones. What if I don't land right? I could hit someone on my way down. Not to mention that it's just really not that safe. Okay, I will grant you all of that. I am one of those adults that will not literally be flying off a swing today. I can, however, still fly. We've been exploring the idea of balance today in the form of juggling and tightrope walking. What about the idea of balance through the flying trapeze? It's amazing to watch trapeze artists at work. They don't call them artists for nothing. From high in the air, they grab onto a swinging bar, back and forth, gaining speed and more height. Then at just the right moment, they let go, flying through the air, They trust that their partner on the swing opposite them will be there at just the right moment to catch them. And as if this wasn't enough, they swing together for a moment, and then the one who flew through the air first releases again and trusts that the swinging empty bar will be there to grab onto. There's obviously a lot of training and practice that goes into performing these skills, but there's something else a trapeze artist must possess: trust. Metaphorically, we can fly. We just have to trust that we can. We also have to trust in letting go. UU Minister Reverend Diane Dalgert spoke about this trust in her podcast entitled The Flying Trapeze and the Fine Art of Freedom. She said, "Truth is, the work of freedom comes with risk, the risk of letting go. Letting go is religious work, but letting go of deeply ingrained beliefs and fears is no small thing. Holding on to something feels better than having nothing to hold on to. Much as we crave freedom, we also crave security. Letting go of beliefs, even those that don't serve us, can feel like a free fall, a plunge into the unknown, unless we know that we will be caught, that there is a safety net. The fine art of freedom is knowing when to hold on and when to let go, knowing what to hold on to and what to let go of. If we are to fly free, we must learn to let go and trust that when we do, we will be caught, and we must become the catchers," unquote. Letting go is sometimes the hardest thing to do. Do we drop that ball we've been juggling that isn't doing us any good? Do we take our feet off the ground and walk the tightrope even though we may lose our balance? Do we trust that someone will be there to catch us after we let go of the swing? The answer to all these questions should be yes, but like learning to fly on and off a trapeze, this deep level of trust takes practice. I recall it took practice to get to the point on the swing set where I felt comfortable enough to let go at the highest height. My flying off the swing started off much closer to the ground. In order to grow our wings, we have to start small, taking small flights and learning how to trust ourselves. We have to practice being the catcher and learn to trust that we can handle that enormous responsibility. We can learn how to fly again and reach the potential we all have within us. It's okay to let go. It's okay to trust. It's okay to drop the ball if you need to. It's okay to find what you need to do in order to keep your balance. And it's okay to let yourself fly through the air. We will be there to catch you. One more video to share with you today.